When people came home from deployment and were surprised that I actually started my own business, I didn't understand. And then when I started talking to more and more people, it hit me. Like, people always say they want to start a business, they always make the plan, and then they don't actually do it. I don't know why. Obviously, I wasn't one of them, but it seems to me that it must be fear or alternatively, laziness. It's very easy to say, I'm going to start my own business, but it's more difficult and requires a much more work to actually do it. People say a lot of things. People don't do anywhere close to the amount of things that they say. Talk is cheap. Actions are worth millions. So for the longest time, I've been trying to wrap my head around this idea of why people go to work every day to jobs that they hate and spend 8 or more hours there every single day, in and out. And you ask them why they're doing it, and they said, I have bills that need to get paid. What? You spent your entire life doing something that you hated so you can pay your bills. What's the point? What's the point of it all? Why buy that house or that car? Is that going to make you happy? You don't spend 8 or more hours in your car, or even in your house for that matter, for most of us, because we've decided that we didn't want to plan our lives. And that is finally what the conclusion I've come to, is that we fail to plan, and so we must react. We are all walking around reacting to life and miserable for it. So if you were your 18-year-old self and you could go back all these years, all these decades, and start over, would you make a plan? Or would you still decide that you're just going to live by the tail of your feet and just roll with the punches? Is that a life? Or is that just survival? So ultimately, I guess the question is, do you want to survive? Or do you want to live? Someone just put in a huge order of my chocolate chip cookies, so I'm making a whole new batch just for them. Most people don't realize that the most important step in making your chocolate chip cookies is the butter and the sugar, which is the first step, mixing them up together and making sure that they cream properly. Cookies! People get into the habit of just throwing all the ingredients into the bowl without even separating them first. But what you should do is separate the dry ingredients, mix them all together, and then separately do all the wet ingredients. This is the way to make the best cookies. So that's what I'll be doing next. I'm going to mix together all of the dry ingredients. So that is flour, baking soda, salt, and I would tell you the last one, but once again, I don't want to tell you my secret recipe. Hopefully you can see the difference between what it looked like before the butter was creamed and after. It's more fluffy, it has a lot more air incorporated into it, and now we're going to add each egg individually, one by one, and after inputting each egg in there, we're going to mix it up until it's incorporated and then add the next one. Sorry, I forgot to show you putting the dry ingredients in, but this is what it looks like once you're doing the mixing with the actual chocolate. And don't mix it for too long. So I have 60 pints to make. 60. By myself. While the store is open and people are ordering pints. It's going to be a long day. I hope to talk to you about employees as an entrepreneur today, and hopefully I'll get to it. So it will be a productive day, hopefully, besides my slaving over pints. In case I don't get to it, I'll make a long story short. Employees that are reliable are difficult to find. Whether that's a manager, so that you are not being the manager, because as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to run your business. And if you are managing it and being all the employees are doing all of their jobs, then you are not managing your company. And if you are, it means that you are not sleeping. That's where I am right now. So maybe I'm not the best person to give advice, but I can tell you what not to do. I'm headed home. I got the order done and dropped off. And so now we can finally talk about employees. Where to begin? I think I almost immediately knew that it was going to be tough finding employees. I live in an area where everyone has money, and so anyone who's working a job that I can hire them for and pay them for is doing so because they want to have a job, not because they need one. people literally didn't show up for interviews. When I was just doing a phone interview, even people just didn't answer the phone. Like, it was crazy. Like, I could not understand for the life of me, why would you even tell someone that you want to do an interview if you're not going to show up? And then why not just call and say, hey, I'm not interested anymore? I just don't understand what's wrong with people today. They just didn't call, didn't show for work. Like, ugh. But it all started with the interviews. I mean, I don't know. The first manager I hired too quickly. I was excited about her resume, and after speaking to her, I was just excited. And I started looking more into her resume, and like, she lied, like straight up lied on the resume. And when I asked any questions, I asked a follow-up question after I hired her, and she just got pissed that I was asking, even though it was a very legitimate question. And then we just parted ways. I'm home now. I would continue talking about employees, except that I have to respond to a ton of emails and try to apply for this PPP loan through a different lender. So I will finish doing my employee talk tomorrow. Good night. I still owe you a video on what it's like to hire employees and deal with employees. I promise I'll get it done tonight. I promise. And then I'll post it. All right, bye.